you're obviously a sadist in some ways where you want to do more things. So one thing you and I were talking about many months ago actually was that there's one position that is the least appreciated, least loved, maybe most underrated position. Mm-hmm. What position is that?
First, I want everyone listening to take their guess in the whole estate. Obviously, we're not going to be able to hear back from you, but in a wholesale company, what's the answer? Because it hits better if you've guessed yourself. In my opinion, and in both of our opinion, it is the lead manager.
Yeah.
The lead manager is the most overlooked position in a real estate investment company. Everybody puts all of this time, effort, and energy into the marketing. They put all this time, effort, and energy into cold callers and textures if they have them. They put all this time, effort, and energy into their acquisitions, their dispositions, and then there's just this person there answering the phone. Half the time it's a VA, and everything else, people don't give that person the credit, the attention, the training, anything else that they deserve.
A lot of the times it's the VA.
Yes.
Not even like some of the times. A lot of the times it's the VA.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've been doing your research.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people do that? What do you attribute it to?
Ease of hire. So it's hard to get a quality local person. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to hire a VA to do the job. There's a couple of reasons why I believe that logic is flawed. And first off, I love VAs. A lot of people know me for being the guy that loves VAs. Mm-hmm. You know, Bill Gates says you can solve any problem in the world through technology. I believe you can solve any problem in the world through the right VA. Yeah. Which actually really isn't that true, because I don't believe that you can solve lead management through a VA. Between the two companies, I have over 50 VAs. So I'm all in, love VAs. I do not have VAs as my lead managers and answering my inbound calls.
Okay, so I'll give you a chance here to make that argument, because there are a lot of people that disagree with this. Okay. So what is your argument for that?
So I have a couple. The first one comes from Austin McCurdy, who works with Gary Harper, mm-hmm. Sharper. The people that have brought PI here. Mm-hmm. Love those guys, highly suggest them too. So, you know, people struggle hiring acquisition managers as well, because they're trying to hire someone directly as an acquisition manager. The best way, in my opinion, to hire an acquisition manager, especially as a smaller company, is to hire a lead manager who you can train up to be an acquisition manager. Mm-hmm. Much easier to hire. As hard as it is to hire a lead manager, it's even harder to hire an acquisition manager. Hire a lead manager who you can train up to be acquisition manager. I have one of my first acquisition manager, I did that exact process. And he's still with me today and is still fantastic. So that's number one. Number two, this market's more competitive than ever. Think about this. You're a seller. This industry, yes, more competitive than ever. You're a seller. You've got, and let's say we'll pick mail. As good as Investor Machine is, we're not mailing people that no one else is mailing. Mm-hmm. And anybody who's selling you that is, if no one else is mailing them, there might be a reason. Yeah. But you know, that's great. We're really good at finding probates, notice of defaults, whatever. Mm-hmm. We're not the only ones that have that information. Yeah. So it's going to be, I mean, statistically, those people are way more likely to sell. They're still who you want to mail. But the problem is they've got a stack of postcards. Right. So if they call the first person, they're already 50% sure you're a scam, right? Like the We Buy Houses signs, like people are already pretty sure that we're scams.
Especially if it's unsighted road.
Yes, right. But like even postcards, people kind of assume the same thing, right? Yeah. Like real estate investor seeking trainee, 20 grand plus a year. Like this whole industry, people are still convinced we're a scam, right? So if they call and, you know, what they get is a voice that doesn't sound like someone local to them, like theory confirmed at this point, right? Mm-hmm. And sure, they're going to hear them out, but and you know,
their guard is really high.
What's that?
Their guard is really high.
Their guard isn't incredible, and you can hear it. I mean, yeah. I listen to the calls. You can hear guard is high, and you know, sure they can get the low hanging fruit, but in this market, you cannot afford to just get the low hanging fruit.
Especially with how much money we spend on marketing.
Right, and especially with the value of a closing mm-hmm. in what we do. So you know, you've got that base level, and then you get even better. You want to be better too than just an appointment setter as well, because mm-hmm. the problem is if all you have is an appointment setter, no problem has been solved here, right? So I call the first postcard. This person answers and says, "Okay, great. We're gonna come, you know, Tuesday at 8. Great. Okay." My problem's not solved at this point, and I have no faith in this person.
You as a seller, your problem's not solved.
That's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. And so they just keep calling through. Mm-hmm. So if you can get someone that can actually build rapport with the seller, and have them feel like their problem is solved. And the type of person that's actually going to make sure that whatever the very first appointment the seller possibly has is when the acquisition manager is going, you're going to get a far better return on your marketing than you are. So, I mean, really, like the first layer of competition in the war, I guess, is really initially, how do we do it our marketing, right? What's your creative on your pay-per-click ad? What's your creative on the
that's our first impression.
That's your very first impression, right? Very next impression is the lead manager. And it's, okay, is this company as good as they say they are, or are they not? And we've done well at this, we've done not well at this. I was recently listening to a group of calls, and I actually heard a seller say, even to me, from my local lead manager, okay, I'm going to go. Looking at your guys' postcard, I really thought you guys were the professionals. I thought you could help me. I was clearly wrong. I'm going to go. Right?
How did your heart feel?
Horrible. Those phone calls hurt so bad
Yeah.
when you hear those phone calls and things like that, right?
Right.
So, opportunity lost. That's not to say that seller would have been our exact seller, right? But they very well could have been. You get 5-10 of those in a row, and you've lost a deal or two, which far more than pays for the difference between an overseas lead manager and a local lead manager.
Yeah, I mean, you could hire someone at $4 an hour, or you could pay someone on commission, that can close a deal.
Right. And fortunately, I listened to this call and knew that this happened, and can do additional training with the lead manager, who's the right person. But so many of us never listen to calls, never do any additional training. We just assume it's going until we randomly one day listen to a call, and it's like, listen to a group of calls, like, how did we get this far off?
Yeah, I mean, again, I do sales training, hang my hat on sales training, and I listened to a call, I want to say like 8-9 months ago. I was like, are you guys serious?
Right.
He's not with our company anymore. But I was just thinking, like, are you serious? Like, I train against this specific behavior.
Right. Makes you feel like a total fraud, right? Happened to me once where I mailed myself on a house, right? And I was so mad because, like, there's no reason this house should have been mailed, right? It should have never come up. And I was like, I'm a fraud. I'm supposed to be the guy that's so good at data and everything else. And I was so mad, and I did a whole bunch of research into it and found out that I didn't pay my property taxes. So then I paid my property taxes, right? But I know that feeling of, like, I'm the guy that people rely on for this, and I can't even do it for myself.
Yeah. So